Hey, it's Jeffrey Pepper Rogers here with another episode of Guitar Sessions. And that guitar hook that I played is from Lucinda Williams' song Passionate Kisses. And that is the topic for the lesson today. Lucinda Williams on my mind lately because I recently did an interview with her. This just came out, cover of the Acoustic Guitar Magazine September-October 2021 issue with a feature that digs deeply into her guitar and songwriting styles, includes examples from a bunch of her songs and a complete chart of Passionate Kisses. But in this lesson, I wanted to do something a little different, which is to dive kind of deeply into that guitar riff. So show you not only how it's played in the Lucinda Williams version of it, but also, of course, that song was made into a huge hit by Mary Chapin Carpenter. So we'll look at it, how it was adapted in her version in a different key. And then finally, I want to show you a little version of my own, a kind of chord melody version of that very cool guitar hook. So as with all the episodes of Guitar Sessions, the tab for everything you're hearing is up on Patreon. So let's roll. So first up, the Lucinda Williams version, which is from her self-titled album from 1988. She was working, one of her producers, her lead guitarist, Gurf Morlix. So he's actually the one responsible for that riff, that guitar hook there. So her version of the song is in the key of E. She actually played it, the rhythm guitar part, using C shapes, capo 4. But this part, Gurf Morlix part, is uncapoed, playing out of the key of E. It starts way up the neck here with this melody that's played almost entirely on the third string. So in order to get that that note, we have to go all the way up to the 16th fret on the third string. So the underlying chords, though, behind this riff are E, B, C sharp minor, and A. So in number terms, that's a 1, 5, 6, 4. The famous 4 chords from the Axis of Awesome video there, at work in Passionate Kisses. So first, let's check out the melody by itself. So here we are, all the way up at the 16th fret on the third string, and we're going to play that melody just going down the third string. So measure by measure, it's going to look like this. And the rhythm on throughout this whole hook is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And that's kind of the rhythmic motif of it here. So we start off with 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'm actually going to use that open first string. Next phrase. So that's 9, 8, 6 on the third string, and then we're going to skip down to here. And that's our last phrase of it. So let me put this all together. Play it a little slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4. So once you got that melody under your fingers, all we're doing then is adding in the second and first strings open in between each note of that melody. So throughout this whole riff, these two strings are just going to be ringing. So check out how that works. 1, 2, 3, and... So there is that jangly sort of sound on the Lucinda Williams track. And when Mary Chapin Carpenter did her version of it for her album Come On, Come On, which was a huge hit and a Grammy winner for her, she actually lowered the key. So she played it in the key of D. That's the key that it sounded in. Like Lucinda Williams, she plays rhythm using C shapes, but with a capo at the 2nd fret, whereas Lucinda Williams had capo 4. But the Mary Chapin Carpenter version is very faithful to the Lucinda Williams one, aside from that changed key, and the riff is pretty much preserved. John Jennings, Mary Chapin Carpenter's lead player, kind of brought that over into the key of D. So you can't play it exactly the same way because before in E we had those ringing open strings. In D we don't have those same high strings available unless you were to get into an alternate tuning or something. So you have to adapt a little bit where play this. So let's first check out just what the melody sounds like by itself in the key of D, mostly played on the 2nd string. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now let's add in those other notes to sort of fill out the riff to get that jangly effect. So before we had B and E ringing out. So now a step down, we want an A and a D ringing out. So I'm going to be kind of fingering different shapes on the neck that are going to allow me to play those A and D sort of drone notes, those ringing notes, as I move down the neck and follow that line. So here's how it works. 1, 2, 3, 4. So piece by piece. Our first phrase. That's where I'm sliding down to the 3rd fret. And then I'm going to go reverse direction here and play strings 2, 3, 4. And then I'm going to go 4, 3, 2 for the last phrase of it. One thing that is interesting is if you look at Mary Chapin Carpenter live versions, you will see John Jennings playing that song and actually not doing it in that octave, but in a lower octave. So starting on his A note down here, and also using drop D tuning, so tuning the 6th string down to D so that at the end of the riff it could go all the way down and end on a D note. So check out what that sounds like first with just the melody. 1, 2, 3, 4. Because I'm in drop D, I've got that low D note to end on. And now I'm just going to take that lower register melody there and just add some pieces of the chords just to fill it out a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now I want to share with you a version of this of my own, where I actually use a capo up at the 7th fret, still in drop D tuning. Allows me to do a kind of a chord melody version of this. In other words, to play that melody, but get more pieces of the underlying chord so I can sort of be rhythm and lead at the same time. So let me show you how that works with this riff. Here I'm putting a capo up at the 7th fret and still in drop D tuning. Up here, 1, 2, 3, 4. And the last little piece here, one of the changes that in Mary Chapin Carpenter's version is that they added an instrumental bridge that's different from what Lucinda Williams did. In the Lucinda Williams original recording, there is no bridge per se. They just played that guitar hook a couple times, kind of as an interlude in the middle of the song. But they did something interesting in the Mary Chapin Carpenter version, which is that they took that guitar melody and kind of put different chords behind it. So they kind of reharmonized it a little bit and made a few tweaks and turned it into just a really nice little instrumental excursion, a little bridge. And so I want to show you how you can do that. Again, chord melody style. Again, drop D tuning, capo 7, play that Mary Chapin Carpenter bridge. So the bridge has a different chord progression, as I said, and it's actually, I'm talking the chords in relation to the capo here. It's A minor 7 to D, C, 2 measures C, A minor 7, B7, E minor, and E, going back up to resolve on the G shape on the 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. Gonna do that up again, a little more up to speed so you can hear what that sounds like. 1, 2, 3, and. All right, so there you have it. The Passionate Kisses guitar hook, looked at a bunch of different ways. Great song. Hope you have fun with this. Once again, all the notation, all the tab for this you can find over on Patreon, along with all of the notation from all these episodes of Guitar Sessions. And thanks for watching, and I will catch you next time. I'm Jeffrey Pepper Rogers.